regarding the relationship between brown and black people in NorCal versus relationships between black and brown people in SoCal. I'll let you go ahead.
What I'll say is, being in Northern California, it was way less, in my opinion, right? Racial tension. I'm just gonna put it out there to between us, black and brown. A lot of us, we're friends. We rock with each other. We embrace each other's cultures to a certain degree. The gang politics weren't as heavy and prevalent as well. At least when I was, growing up and coming up, we really rocked each other compared to Southern California. It's like it's very gang. The gang politics are very heavy here, and it's to the point too where like even I have Hispanic friends on from NorCal and SoCal, and like I have Southern Hispanic friends from Southern California that would talk shit on Hispanics from Northern California, and because of the gang politics, right? Like they would say, the Norteños try to be black, and that's not really how we're supposed to be, X, Y, and Z. So you see that all the time. And I think that's the main difference is the politics. Unfortunately, in our cultures, right? Like so many of our men get incarcerated, where it's like they go back on the streets or they're free and we spew this same rhetoric that we learned really from the prisons that they want it like that. So they want us to be, separated. So a lot of us have those prison politics and we put it into our everyday life and feed it to our kids and grandkids. And obviously race is deeper than that as well. But especially in Southern California, that's what I've ran into is you'll have people who want to hang out. They might just be like, well, we can hang out here, but maybe not over here. And it's still like that in 2025, where it's like it's a different situation. So it was something I had to get used to because we hung out with the Samoans and blacks and Mexicans and Asians. Everybody kicks it for the most part to me in Northern California, So that's the main difference is the gang politics, I feel like.
I grew up most of my life in NorCal, so me growing up and being a part of groups that were tied to gangs, a lot of the quote unquote black gangs and quote unquote Mexican or Chicano gangs actually had black people in it and vice versa. But then you go to SoCal, it is not like that.
At all, man. It can be very racist here, bro. And it's crazy because I always tell people, like, people think LA is this sunshine, free thing. And if you come to LA, it's a wake up call. I call it, while I love living here, it's one of the fakest places to live because, again, you think you come here and you're going to get famous. Then you come here and a lot of people end up just getting strung out on drugs, never get famous. You think you're going to come to Hollywood. You come here, people ask you why you got that hat on, where you from, why you hanging out with this person, that person. You go to jail and you got to only hang out with the blacks or only hang out with the, Hispanics or others. And you would think because LA, the land of, the stars and we get told all this Hollywood nonsense that it would be free and roaming, but it's really, it's strict out here. You look at the police, right? The LAPD, one of the biggest gangs in America. We really, really talking about it. And you go into the history of the LAPD. So a lot of stuff people don't know if they don't live here. They think it's free flowing thing, and it's not. You turn the block somewhere, you're somewhere nice. You turn the block, now you're somewhere where you might not be safe. So it's a different situation. It's just interesting to me that we are still acting like that, or still even have those types of ideologies. I've gotten into arguments for just this year with my own kind because of the shit that Trump's wanting to do, and you got people saying, "Oh well, f that. We should be all for us." But I look at it different. It's like while we can grow on this side, I mean, if we go back to the history of how we were and how we helped each other, I don't see why we should be doing any different now. So, for me personally, and I think some of my Hispanic homies or Chicano homies can agree that we get put in a different box. Like, even though I'm black, right? I might get put in the other box in my own culture because I like certain things. I talk a certain way. I hang out with certain people. I have a different outlook on life. And I'm not fully sold on a monolithic view of what it is to be black, right? And I have, Mexican to be exact homeboys. Some of my best homeboys are Mexican that they have the same struggles where it's like, maybe they don't speak the best Spanish. And that was something that I would hear them get cracked on for all the time. Like, you're not really like us, or you like you hanging out with black people, or you listening to the music, or you doing this and that, and so they get put into this box where it's like, well, I'm just different, even though I'm from this culture, and I rock with it, and I obviously push it to the fullest. But then we end up coming together on that sort of same sentiment of like, well, we are from our culture, but we don't all the way fit in because we don't want to buy into the monolithic view of us to 100%, like, and that's just what it is.
An example, if you have a Mexican that's wearing that hat in
Mm-hmm.
NorCal, no,
Yeah,
no,
huh?
because it represents something. It represents the fact that commonly the Dodgers is a blue color,
Mm.
and it's LA, and LA represents Sureños typically. And so if you are a Mexican in NorCal wearing an LA hat from the get go, whether you even are aware of it, whether you even care about that stuff, you already identified. And that's why people need to come check you if you have that hat on. But you touch on something very interesting to me, and I feel like we could bring a lot of awareness and education. And I like talking with you about these things because I think that you have a lot of perspective. I also feel like you could be very objective rather than emotionally biased. So